All right, Cox Plate.
Yes.
We're about to speak to the CEO of the Moonee Valley Racing Club, Michael Browell, on the Sports Daily over here in Perth. As we've spoken about all week, a really special Cox Plate, the 2025 edition, as we farewell Moonee Valley as we know it. Michael, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning.
How's preparations going for the Cox Plate this year?
Yeah, we're all set. We had the breakfast with the best out here for track work yesterday morning, which rolled into the barrier draw. We've ended up with a field of 9 horses for the 2025 Ladbrokes Cox Plate Carnival, and it should be a fitting finale as we draw the curtain on the iconic Valley racetrack.
How has the build-up been, and what are the emotions ahead of the weekend, Michael?
Oh, the build-up's been interesting, particularly with the horses as you track their form through the Spring Carnival. As I said, we've got the 9 horses, but a couple of them have had some patchy form this spring, looking for Via Sistina to bounce back. It's her grand final. She galloped here Saturday and again Tuesday, so she looks like she's ready to go. But she's got some worthy challenges, particularly in the Queensland horse Antino. Treasure the Moment, she came back in great form and then had the colic attack and has been beaten twice since then. And disappointing to lose Gay Waterhouse's horse last Friday with the vet inspections, Cedelius. But we'll just focus on the horses that we've got. But with the build-up this year, as much as it is about the race, it's also about celebrating the great history of the club and the track. 142 years ago, racing commenced here at Moonee Valley, and it's about to undergo an incredible transformation as we come in on Monday and start the rebuild for what will be a spectacular new Valley racecourse.
Does it feel different for yourself personally, Michael, knowing what's to come Sunday and onwards?
It does feel different, but I've been in the CEO chair now for 17 years, and this whole redevelopment was my idea. So it's taken a long time to get to this point. There's been an incredible amount of work undertaken by the club. The race course, the Strathayr track, it's 30 years old. We've got grandstands here that were built in the 1950s. We've got track lighting here. We can't buy a replacement globe anywhere in the country for it. So the track's at the end of its useful life, and with the redevelopment well underway, we've completed almost 500 apartments here since we kicked off the project in 2018. And there's another 1,500 to come once the grandstands come down.
So, Michael, what is the Moonee Valley track going to look like for those of our listeners who are a little bit uncertain?
Yeah, at the moment, I guess the characteristics of the track, you've got 2 long straights and 2 short straights. The home straight is one of the shortest home straights in the world at 173 metres. It's a saucer-type shape at the moment. The track's 1,805 metres in circumference. It'll end up being 100 metres shorter, so just over 1,700 metres when it's completed. But the home straight will go from 173 metres to 317 metres. We think it'll present a much better racing product here. We've managed to retain all of the key race distance starts, including the 2,040 metres for the WS Cox Plate. It'll be a spectacular racing venue. We think it'll be the best night racing venue in the world, but a key element of the redevelopment is to make sure that we open up the racecourse for the benefit of club members, the residents that are buying into our redevelopment, but also the broader local community. We'll make sure the infield's developed, and there'll be some incredible green space in there with recreation and sporting facilities to make sure it's activated 365 days of the year.
You mentioned it before, it's iconic, the Moonee Valley, and I know a lot of our listeners, Michael, would have been over there for some big races, and what makes it iconic is that atmosphere on race day. How cognizant has the club been to try and retain that type of amphitheatre feeling on race day during this redevelopment?
Yeah, critically important that it does retain those characteristics. It's an amphitheatre. The atmosphere's electric here when you get the great horses in the great races. We launched the night racing season here back in September on grand final eve. The Group 1 Manikato was overshadowed by the Group 2 Fee and Stakes with Pride of Jenny. The Valley has a roar that you don't hear on other racetracks. Hard to believe, but when we rebuild this track, you'll actually be closer to the action. So if you're sitting in the grandstand, you'll be closer to the horses. You'll still get up close and personal. the distance at the moment, if you sit in the grandstand to the furthest point, you're 200 metres closer with the new track. So it'll have an amphitheatre effect. The atmosphere will be generated by the crowd and first-class racing, of course. And we've got a spectacular backdrop too that we'll have once the track's redeveloped with the brilliant Melbourne city skyline.
Michael, as we bid to prepare to farewell Moonee Valley in its current state, do you have a favourite memory or two?
Well, I've had 3 champions come through here in my time. I was lucky. It happened at the start. I had So You Think come through and win 2, and fitting to look at the tributes that have gone online with him over the past 36 hours since we lost him on Monday. So I had So You Think and Black Caviar come through at the same time, 2010 Cox Plate Day. Black Caviar won a Moya. So You Think won his second Cox Plate, and it'll be hard to top Winks winning 4 Cox Plates here. Her third was special, and her fourth was unbelievable. So I've been fortunate. We've had some incredible racing moments here. We've seen the internationalisation of the Cox Plate since 2014, when Aidan O'Brien had Adelaide come across and win. Outside of Winks winning 4 and Animo in 2022, international bred horses have won every other Cox Plate since 2014. So, some incredible memories, and I'm sure all those that tune in and come along on Friday and Saturday, they'll look back over history as to the Great Valley moments, and we'll close the chapter on what we call Volume 1. We'll build a new track. Racing resumes here in August 2027, and we'll start to put some greatest hits into Volume 2.
All right, we only missed 1 Cox Plate then at the Valley. Is that right?
Yeah, we do. 2026. We announced it a month or 2 ago. That'll be held at Flemington. The race meetings from next Friday. We start transferring those to host clubs, and then we've got a 21-month build before we're back here in August 27.
All right, just before we let you go there, Michael, it'd be remiss of us not to ask for a tip.
I'm super confident that Chris Waller's going to have Via Sistina at her absolute peak here. She hasn't been suited with the tempo in her last 2 runs. I think it'll be a different race here on Saturday. She broke the track record by almost 2 seconds. She won by 8 lengths last year. I'm expecting her to go back-to-back.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Michael. Good luck with the redevelopment, and I'm sure we'll catch up in 18 months' time.
Terrific. Thank you, gentlemen.
There's Michael Browell, the CEO of the Moonee Valley Race Club. It's odd to think about. We'll be without Moonee Valley for, what do you say, August 2027.
And the straight's going to look completely different. 173 metres. I know we look at Moonee Valley and go, gee, but it's a short straight. But when you put it into those terms, you go, gee, that is short. That's seriously short, isn't it?
If you're sitting in the grandstand and the furthest part of the track away, you're 200 metres closer under the redevelopment. You're trying to comprehend that. How does that work?
You're right on top of it, are you not?
You can't get much closer than what you are now.
You wouldn't have thought so. But it's done a mighty job, hasn't it, that track? And we talk about the surface. That's your racetrack. If your surface isn't any good, well, you're in trouble. Or if your surface is showing signs of decay, you're forever patching up. So the Moonee Valley Club's done a super job to get to this point, given the traffic and the workload that track has had to encounter.
And just highlights the fact that race clubs, and we speak about it with James Holdering a little bit with Perth Racing, how you're trying to find revenue from outside sources now, and that's probably something race courses need to do, and a lot of them need to look to going forward, because you've obviously got a huge piece of land as a racetrack.
Yes.
And there's a lot of, for most cases, on the inside of each track, it's useless at the moment.
Well, yeah, exactly right. And that track itself, and much like others, I dare say, like Caulfield and even Flemington, but it's just basically a course smack bang in suburbia.
Yeah,
your houses around it, on the road. It's like there'd be some houses there. You walk out the front, go to your letterbox, and you're 30 metres away from the main entrance of Moonee Valley.
Yeah,
it's bizarre.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I was lucky enough to be there Moya Day this year, and you jump off the tram, you wouldn't even know it was there.
No,
and then you walk around there's Moonee Valley.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I reached out to Robbie Griffiths and he said Ray Magnerio is coming. So that is the intention at this stage. Robbie Griffiths confirming this morning that Ray Magnerio, all things being equal, will be here in Perth and will be contesting the Winterbottom.
Winterbottom Stakes, good first up winner. Probably should have won by further. Was held up for the majority of the straight. $14. Tab Touch Ray Magnerio. Overpass $4, Joker's Green 5, Giga Kick 10, War Machine 10, rope them in at 12.
You could have some really strong interstate representation here for the Winterbottom, couldn't you? Like, you are going to see Overpass. Yep. You will see Ray Magnerio.
At this stage, you'll see Reserve Bank. Everything going well?
More likely than unlikely. Giga Kick. Like, that's a bloody
More
good...
likely than unlikely.
Well, I think Clayton would suggest, or his comments would suggest that at this stage.
Yep.
The needle was in favour of the coming rather than not. That's a bloody good race. Yeah. Straight away, when you factor in the locals, be it a Joker's Grin, be it the Boss Lady, be it Rope Them In, Repossession will kick off his Winterbottom campaign with the Prince of Wales start next Saturday.
Yep.
Good race.
It's building nicely. Out to a quick break. Back on the Sports Daily after that.
Make Tab Radio your station of choice. Each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
Welcome back to the Sports Daily here on TAB Radio in Perth. We've just ticked past 10 minutes past 7. Of course, just repeating race 6, number 2 today at Belmont. Pure Obsession is Scott's best. Take him on for a chance to win a $100 Tab Touch voucher. Looking forward to catching up with our next special guest as well. A couple of key horses to take a look at both in Melbourne and Sydney. Cox Plate with Nepotism. Michael Hawkes joins us on the Sports Daily. Michael, thank you very much for your time and a very good morning.
Morning, boys. How you going?
Very well, Michael. Great to chat. How is the colt?
Yeah, he's really good. He's come through his last run really well, and obviously having those couple of runs here in Sydney. First up was, it was a good run without getting carried away, and then obviously the Golden Rose was his second run, but you kind of look back at the Golden Rose and nothing really changed shape. Only horse that made ground was really the winner and Tempted, so sort of left scratching our head a little bit, and I know we had Autumn Boy on our outside and we struggled to get past him, and I couldn't really make much of that race, to be honest, so it was really just a line through, and then obviously last start we pushed on to the Caulfield Guineas, and yeah, it was a lovely barrier trial, let's just say that. He just couldn't get any room, and he sort of ran unbelievable sectionals from the 8 to the 6 to the 4 to the 2, and then the last furlong he got held up. Now, I'm not saying he wins, but he definitely finishes in the finish with Autumn Boy, and of course Autumn Boy ended up going and winning that race. So there was the sort of form out of the Golden Rose, but looking like he wants 2,000. He's back on track. He looks good. We've drawn well. It's a sharp field Saturday. It's an even field, and we think he's a colt that's definitely got some upside, and he's worth taking his spot in that race.
So all the data available to you, and also your eye is telling you 2,000 metres a big tick?
Yeah, it is. If you go back to the run here at Randwick when he won the Champagne last prep, like he just got back and really motored home and just kept extending. So Blake Shin rode him last start. He got off and said to us in the connections on the day, he said, "Oh, geez, he's looking like he wants 2,000." And Wayne piped up and said, "Well, we've accepted the Cox Plate with him, so we definitely know that." And he went, "Oh, okay, no worries." Look, knowing the horse, knowing where he's at, it's all part of it. But yeah, he's definitely looking like he wants 2,000. But he's still a baby. He's not fully mature yet, and the best part is he is back on song, and his run last start sort of proved that. So it's hard to sort of look at these colts when you're trying to get them back, obviously winning a Group 1 at 2 like he did, being by the son of Brutal that we trained for a Doncaster win. It's exciting that he's going forward, but he is back on track, albeit take nothing away from the other horses. We are throwing him in the deep end. It is a Cox Plate. It's not your average race.
Michael, did you start this preparation with the view that this Colts grand final would be start number 4 in a Cox Plate, or have you had to tweak it along the way?
We've always had that sort of, I suppose, plan. His ultimate plan was the Caulfield Guineas, to be fair, knowing that the Cox Plate was always 2 weeks after. And look, there's always, anyone knows our horses, there is always something left in the tank. You know, it's our horses always perform sort of second and third up and through their prep, and we try and stabilise that through our process and what we do. And knowing that fourth up, he'd be rock hard fit and hitting the line. And sometimes it's not until you race in these races that you really go, hey, he's looking for further. Because the question is, though, guys, everyone asks you, even from a 1,200-metre horse, can they run 14? Can a 14 run a mile? Do you have to go further? The answer is no, you don't. But you've just got to keep your eye on the prize. But with him, it was always in the back of our mind. That's why we nominated him early days, and we've kept paying up for him the whole way through. So we paid up before the Guineas for the final, or the third acceptance for the Cox Plate, knowing that he was in. And then, of course, he went and ran dually on that day in the Guineas. And as I said, if anyone hasn't watched it, I suggest you go and have another look and dissect it, because it was a pretty good run.
You talk about him still being a little bit of a baby, and there's still plenty of development to come. Now, going into what possibly might be a high-pressure Cox Plate, how do you balance up, you know, the risk of reward to the fact that maybe he might not be ready for a Cox Plate? How do you make that assessment?
Well, anyone that knows us, once again, we don't run horses for the sake of running them. We're always erring on the side of caution, especially when you do have a high-profile horse like this horse is, and knowing that he's got a stud duty down the track. So, look, he's screaming like he wants 2,000. He's actually worked really good on Tuesday, and he's just kept going forward and everything we've asked of him. So there's no reason not to run. That's probably the first and foremost, whereas he's really looking like he does want further. And I know I said he's a baby, like you said, but in saying that, if he'd sort of put his foot up to say, hey, I've had enough, then he'd be in the paddock. So he's definitely going forward. He's in the upward spiral, and we think he's just got that last one to give. Could
he follow in Dad's footsteps in the autumn at Randwick?
Yeah, you never know. He's on target for that sort of race, and obviously just trying to get him back to winning form and getting another Group 1 under his belt would be amazing. And look, if he happened to win Saturday, which I honestly believe is a genuine top 3 chance, I really do at the weights. And if he happened to pull it off on Saturday, there'd be none better. And it takes a special 3-year-old to do that race like we have in the past with Octagonal. All Too Hard runs second, so you're having a throw at the stumps, but you've got to have the right throw and the horse to do it, and we feel he is. So look, he could come back in the autumn and be, unbelievable, really.
Yep. All right, genuine top 3 chance. That's a nice push. Have you decided which way you're heading with Federalist?
He's running Saturday here. He's in the Spring Champion. He's made the field. I've already found out that he's number 14 of 15. So he's definitely made the field. Look, his trial last week was good. We just ticked him over, and he's really looking for 2,000. Obviously, he races in the Winkers. He's got those famous Perth colours on, and we've set him the whole way through for this race. And I'm just hoping to draw a barrier where he can at least jump and be a bit closer. And I think the 2,000 now he's going to stretch out to it. He's really going to appreciate it now. Obviously, with his breeding being by that superstar Arcadia Queen and by I'm Invincible, necessarily the breeding doesn't recommend that he's going to stretch out. But in saying that, he's looking like he wants further. And look, he could even back up in a derby yet. So we're just taking one step at a time. But first and foremost, the horse comes first. He's been well. It was good, and we're looking forward to Saturday at the moment.
Without wanting to pry, Michael, what was Tyler's remarks post-race after that run in the Dulcify?
Oh, look, it's just, it was just one of those runs to forgive. You had the horse on your outside, sort of, in the right spot for it to win, Antico, and we were actually, personally, I thought we were going better at that stage at about the 700, but we got shunted back and had to wait. And the best part I liked was he actually picked up ground and attacked the line. Now, I know he didn't win, but he was there and wanted to win. So that was first and foremost. And look, being a high-profile colt that he is, his form doesn't read the best. He's had 5 starts, 5 duck eggs, that everyone will look at it, but he's had genuine chances of how to get beat in all 5. So I'm just hoping Saturday, boys, everything just goes to plan and to script. And I keep telling the owners, including Mr. Peters, who's probably listening, that, you know, you've got the right horse, but we just need luck, that's all.
Have you ever been excited about a horse that started 5 runs 0-0-0?
Never.
It's always the first.
Well, you got to believe. You got to have faith. And we've always believed from day one, even when he was just a train wreck in his first start at Newcastle, and everything's just gone pear-shaped. So, look, the horse looks amazing. He's ticking over nice, and I can't fault him.
Fair enough. Gangster Granny, will we see her again on the weekend?
Yeah, Gangster's really good. She's her win was outstanding. She was knocking on the door. Obviously, the start before that wasn't a fantastic ride, but change of pilot. Zach got the job done, and she's in the invitation on Saturday, and it's an even race. Look, it's 1,400, and it's something that probably 14 at this stage is her limit. I'm not going to deny that, and we probably really need to draw a nice barrier so she can have the optimum run. But if anything out of this race, she's actually a mare that's on the improve. I think she only had about 8 starts and hasn't been out of the placings in any of them. So she's a lovely big scopy mare. She's only getting better with racing, and just everything. I hope she can draw a barrier for her to go right, because she does put herself on speed and she wants to win, and she attacks that line. So it's a classy field without getting carried away. I think it's an even field, and it's a field she's going to be really competitive in.
Is there another one that we haven't touched on in the next couple of days that you can push our listeners into?
Oh, look, honestly, not overly. These ones on Saturday, they're... look, I've got to give credit to the grey horse that ran in the Everest. He'll probably head towards the Russell Balding, Briassa.
Yep.
Nothing went right. He just missed the start, and anyone knows when you miss a start in that race, you're game over, because it is high-pressure stakes. So at this stage, we'll push on to the Russell Balding, which is 1,300 at Randwick, and I'm sure he'll bounce back. So if anyone was on him, don't jump off him.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Michael. All the best over the next couple of days, and most importantly on Saturday.
Thanks, boys.
There's Michael Hawke, so that's a really good push for the couple of 3-year-olds that they've got on the up.
Yeah, very much so. He looks like the 2,000 metres is going to be right in his wheelhouse, Federalist, to be fair. And nepotism needs to recapture that form that he showed as an autumn 2-year-old. He won the Champagne. I think he was successful the start prior to that, but he didn't get a lot of galloping room when he needed it in the Guineas, and Michael outlined that. So 3-year-olds in this race, they do have a good record.
Well, we were speaking about the market, and there's a few holes you can punch in a bit of the form of those contenders up the top. So if there is one to jump out of the ground, it might be a 3-year-old down in the weights significantly. Clearly, nepotism in with 49.5 kilos. If he does run a strong 2,000 metres, he's going to be there.
Yeah, spot on. So you know that he's a Group 1 winner already now. Again, that's 2-year-old Group 1 form, so he needs to elevate. But... he'll get an opportunity there, and who knows put it this way, maybe with the exception of, would you be surprised if Attrition was to win that race on the weekend?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yep.
So I think it's, as much as Via Sustina is all the rage and the like, if Light Infantryman and Attrition won the race, and I think even Globe. Other than that, there's 6 of the other 9 you could say, yeah, okay, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that, be it an Antino, be it a Buckaroo, Via clearly treasure the moment if she gets somewhere near her best, the 3-year-old in Aliana. So, Light Infantryman, no. Globe concerns, is he at that level also? I know he's a last start Group 1 winner, and perhaps... attrition. Other than that, I think it's game on.
No, exactly right. 3 runs into the campaign for Antino this time in. Hasn't saluted, but getting very close to a win. And I'm sure the next man, trainer Tony Gollan, will be hoping that win is on Saturday. Tony, thank you very much for your time, and a good morning over here in Perth.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Good
morning, Tony. How is Antino since we last saw him when he was so brave behind Sir Delius?
Oh, he's terrific. He's built beautifully into his preparation. With everything's gone to plan, I guess you could say, and he's just building nicely with each run.
What did you make of the last start, second in the Turnbull?
Yeah, I thought it was terrific. It was a funny race. It looked as though he was going to get a beautiful run a beautiful run on the back of Sedelius when it was crap wide, and all of a sudden they rolled along a little bit further and it got in and we were just posted on the limb. So it made life a little bit trickier. We sort of made our run and condition just peaked on us late. Obviously Sedelius was very, very good. But we come out of that Maccabi, which has been well documented, that walk and sprint race. He come out of a much tougher Underwood. So I just think the score of conditioning didn't really help us late, but that run brought us to where we want to be. His horse improved significantly, I think, since the Turnbull. We've seen him historically race really well on his fourth run in from a prep being his peak run. So nothing's showing me that's not going to be this weekend as well.
From this side of the country, Tony, it appears it's been a seamless preparation. Would that be fair?
Yeah, it's seamless as preparations again, I suppose. Everything's gone pretty well. We got into Melbourne quite early, very similar to what I did last spring, and Barry trialled him down here. And at each run, he's just built and built and built towards what is, I guess, his grand final day, which is this weekend. And then if we've got some juice left in the tank, we'll go to Flemington a couple of weeks later. But everything's been geared around this race.
You touched on the Mackay Bedevery second run in this preparation. When the race is run like that, do you have to change the prep at all? Does anything change with him? Because, as you mentioned, it was such a slowly run race.
No, I didn't really. I kept the prep the same. I had options to change the preparation, but I was happy enough to go the 3 weeks to the turn. But we just, with the facilities we have down here in Melbourne, they're great to, go to the Cranbourne racetrack, the actual racetrack, and had a nice gallop with one of Kieran's over there in between just to keep him up to the mark. And I felt we produced him pretty good on Turnbull Stakes Day. Just a bit more solid a run. I just think lacking that tougher run at the mile just caught me out. But, I think I left, Flemington quite happy with where I was at preparation-wise, for the Cox Plate.
Tony, you've won multiple big races. How does it feel to have a horse like Antino very much in the market for this Weight for Age Championship?
It's pretty special. To have a horse like him at any time, really. But, to be involved in a race like this, it's been a really big build-up, particularly this last week. But it's enjoyable. We're enjoying it, and we know that, come Saturday evening, he won't let me down. He'll run his best race as he can. That's all we can ask of him. But it's been a really cool race to be a part of. The whole spring's been terrific. They've been very tactical affairs, these races, and Saturdays will be no different. But it's been a great build-up.
How do you go on the eve of such a big race? Are you a nervous trainer, or do you just let it fold the way it folds, given you've done all that you can do?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty okay. Main thing for me was just the preparation going to plan, really, and the rest of the week now we just got to dot our I's and cross our T's. Really, just got to amble our way to the races. With all the hard work's pretty well being done. Hopefully, no last minute catastrophes we've got to handle. But if there are, I'm sure we'll do our best. But at this point in time, it's been smooth, and hopefully it remains smooth. And I'm a nice, calm person heading to Moonee Valley on Saturday.
Oh, hopefully, as they cross the line, you're not too calm in a good way, Tony. You touched on the fact that a couple of these races have been tactical affairs. Just a quick look at this Cox Plate. If Globe doesn't get there doesn't look like there's much speed. Have you had a good look at it just yet?
Yeah, look, even if Globe does, it didn't go that quick at all at Caulfield the other day. It was a bit of a optical illusion, wasn't it? He wasn't really, burning the clock. He was out in front by a couple on those others, and I don't know, they just got the sectionals wrong. I think he didn't seem to be going that hard to me. If he comes out, it'll be trickier again. I'd imagine light infantry man might have to work across from the wide draw. The 3-year-old, no weight, obviously nepotism, could race a lot further forward, I'd imagine, with 49.5 on his back. But it'll be a real tactical race. We're drawn when we want to draw. I won't sort of amble down too much with Blake. He does all the homework. He knows the horse inside and out. So I've got full trust in him. And more importantly, Blake's got full trust in Antino. So whatever move he decides to do on him, he'll have full trust in the horse, and the horse will repay him.
What has been the feedback from Blake aboard this bloke all the way through the spring, Tony? Has it been nice and positive in regards to how he feels and how he's tracking?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. He's tracking along really well. I think we're a little frustrated, but still happy with him on Turnbull Stakes Day. Just frustrated to be just put on a limb and caught that little bit deep. But, probably the conditioning run we really need, for this weekend. So No, his feedback's been great. All preparation, we've been eyeing this race off, and look at the way we've ridden him, on different occasions. It's always with this in mind. Now we've tried to, win as best we could, but I think both of us are happy where we're at.
All very positive. Transatlantic, how's he going?
Yeah, he's going great. He's going really good, this horse. He's another young horse that's taken a little while to mature, and he's doing a great job. He's trained on beautifully since the Toorak. He heads back to Sydney to chase some of their riches now for the 5 Diamond Prelude and the 5 Diamond, and he leaves tonight from Cranbourne to make his way up to Sydney, and he's in as good a shape as what he was Toorak Day, if not a little bit better. All
right, so they're the 2 runs, and then that'll be him, you think?
Yeah, that'll be him then. Yeah, I did flirt with the idea of looking at a nom for over your way when they were out, but I just think he's had a pretty busy time with winter into spring, and he can go home, have a nice break, and look at the autumn next year in Sydney. Hopefully, maybe back for a Doomben Cup. Who knows, in Brisbane.
All right. Do you have a winner today at Eagle Farm, Tony?
We've got an unusually small team in today for us. I thought Lady Milan looked my best. First starter, lovely filly, drawn low. Track will be quick enough, and she should get a lovely run, be pretty sharp.
All right, that is Lady Milan, race 3, number 11 today at Eagle Farm. Thank you very much for your time, Tony. Greatly appreciated, and all the best on Saturday.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you later,
There's Tony Gollan. So, Ian Tino, everything very positive there. We heard Michael Hawkes from Nepotism. All positive there.
Well, if you're not positive going into a Cox Plate with your horse, when are you going to be positive? You need to be positive, don't you?
Well,
do you expect that Nepotism will be ridden to best utilise his weight?
I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so.
You have to, do you not?
Well, you're going to go into the race where there's not a lot of speed, so I think everyone's going to have a look at maybe settling in the first 4, and then that might make it a little bit interesting down the straight for the first time.
Yeah, like you've got no weight. It's a great advantage. If you've got a horse like him, just use it. Don't sit back and try and pick runs.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. Ian Tino probably expecting to go forward, but then if Nepotism holds a spot, Treasure the Moment, you'd think from gate 1 holds a spot, Light Infantryman comes across. Might be a little bit messy going into that first corner.
Yeah, it could well be. It could well be. But as Tony quite rightly remarked there, they've been tactical affairs, some of these big races, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
They really have. So are we going to see another one on Saturday? There's every likelihood we will.
All right, hang around for 5 minutes here on the Sports Daily, and you're about to hear from Neville Parnham.
Wave Radio, your station of choice. Each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
Welcome back to the Sports Daily. Taylor Cortland and Digby Beecham with you, taking a closer look now at Ascot. Projecting forward, of course, the main event there Saturday, the Belgravia Stakes. Neville Parnham, who we are about to catch up with, has 2 nominated, Country God and Zoo Run, both horses on the up, and looking forward to chatting about September Born. It looks like he'll be able to get back to the races for the first time in a long time.
Great to see him back. Trialled particularly well. We spoke to Brad about September Born last Friday, didn't we? And he gave him a good push.
Absolutely. All right, we'll get it from the trainer's mouth now. Neville Parnham joins us on the Sports Daily. Neville, a very good morning to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, Taylor, Digby.
How are you, Neville?
Good, thanks. Yeah.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Thank you for your time this morning. We were just touching on September Born. We mentioned that we had a chat to Brad last Friday about him. How has he done since that trial?
Extremely well, yeah. Yeah, he had a fairly solid gallop Saturday morning, and he was really good. Yeah, probably worked right in his best form. So looking forward to him fronting up there on the weekend.
You nominated him for both the 1,000 and the 1,400 metres. You went the way of the 1,400 metres. Was that just gate related?
A little bit, yeah. I just looked at what was in that 1,000, and there's a few really pretty sharp ones in that, and I wasn't sort of thinking that he needed to be doing a lot of chasing, and plus 1,400 probably suits better with going forward anyway, sort of where we might or potentially finish up, but where we would like to finish up. I guess that's the best way to put it, yeah.
Where would you like to finish up with him, provided everything stays the way it is at the moment, Neville?
I'd like to get a run in the Railway Stakes with him if it's possible, but his rating points at the moment wouldn't get him in there. So he needs to come out and perform, and I'm not super confident he'd get a run in the Asian Bow next week even. So there seems to be plenty of nice open horses around at the moment, and he's, I know there's a lot of horses in his same category, they're promising, and they're just a little bit short on the points that will probably get them in there, but yeah, hopefully he can return on Saturday and get some points, and where I go from there will probably be dependent on how he goes Saturday.
Are you hoping he wins on Saturday, or are you more confident he can win on Saturday?
I'm pretty confident the best version of him will turn up there on Saturday. So, I would have liked it to be in a 1,200 metre race, but for whatever reason, we're not really didn't really have that in our programming with horses. It was either 1,000 or a 14. So, it was a little bit tricky for him, but that's probably the only thing that'll beat him Saturday is the 14. But the way he worked last Saturday morning, I think most of them would have to be at their best to beat him. I know there's a couple of horses in that race that are nice horses as well, but he worked at his absolute best. And Opportunistic was good the other day in a higher grade, but he's got the 60 to carry. Hopefully we can turn up and return in the winner's circle.
It would be fantastic to see. Now, talking of 1,200 metre races, the feature there at Ascot on Saturday, Neville, is the Belgravia Stakes, and you're going to be represented by a boy and a girl. The boy, Country God, drew 2, and Zoo Run came up with Barrier 8. Chris to ride at 53 kilos. Can we start with Country God off the back of that recent trial, please?
Yeah, he trialled really good. He finished up in front, I think, and he just didn't really sort of suit his style. He was a bit fresh, and nothing else really wanted it. But he's come back really well. Worked up nicely. His trial was good. I think he comes off just a few weeks off during the winter and a campaign that sort of finished up pretty good for him. He won 3 and was second in the other. So. I think if he can bring that kind of form back to the races, he'll be competitive in these events, and we'll sort of start, I guess, seeing which ones are up to it and which ones aren't. But there's a lot of horses there with really good, nice form, and they'll all come together at some stage, and some of them will come together this weekend. But I expect from a good gate he takes up a good position, and he should run really well.
Zoo Run, that trial was very impressive as well, Neville.
She's an impressive horse. She hasn't really done anything wrong. She's a bit of a late maturer, but when she sort of finally stepped out in July, she ran a super race and finished up just a bit of a checkered run, not far into the straight, and the winner just got away from her, but she was taking good ground off it at the finish. And then her next start, she came down the outskirts of the track after a pretty ordinary barrier draw, and that just plonked her, sort of had to go deep. And she beat the Crimson Pirate that day, which I know, there's a few people who've got nice opinions of that horse. So I think it might front up today, actually. But look, she was impressive there. And then when she went to Belmont, a start after that, she went from 11 to a 14, and she commenced a bit awkwardly, and I think she might have copped a bit of a bump. I just can't remember, but she was sort of tailed out the back, and then got a beautiful run through him. I think the cutaway was there that day, which opened up the field a little, and she shot through there, and she won with a bit of authority, felt that she had enough at that point, and decided to sort of give her a little bit of a break, and she's come back and trialled up extremely well. Work has been extremely good, hence the reason Chris has opted to ride her. So, she's drawn 8. I see there's a scratching already. I think I saw it earlier that. So she'll come into at least 7. She should get a pretty reasonable run from there, and hopefully she can be running on strongly at the finish. Yeah.
You mentioned that Chris is committed to her. He's probably given the punters a bit of a lead as well. Neville, would that be fair, riding 53?
Yeah, look, he rang me yesterday morning and asked me what I was thinking, and I mentioned I had her nominated a few times, and yeah, I guess probably wanting for him to ride it, but thinking that the 53 would probably be a bit beyond him. But he just put it out there. He said, "Look, if you finish up going that way," he said, "I'll ride the 53." You know, so
yep.
That would be definite that he has given them a lead by suggesting that he can ride the 53 kilos.
Both of those, Country God and Zoo Run Run. What are you thinking next starts for them? Does Country God start at the 1200 and Zoo Run Run stretches out to 14?
The intention is to stretch her out. I mean, she's won at 14 so far in her short career, so we'll definitely go to the Burgess Queen with her, and then we'll sort of work out her path from there, I guess. You know, I'm hoping that she'll get out to the Champion Fillies distance, but we won't know until we try. But the other fella... I haven't quite decided which way he goes next, but it's likely we'll take him to the Fair Ether, but we'll just see how he goes Saturday, and then we might there's obviously a couple of options. You know, there's the Placid Arc over 1200, and there's the head towards the Guineas at 1600, but I'm just not quite sure just yet with him, but I keep banging my head up against the wall thinking, well, his mum was just an out-and-out sprinter, but... obviously playing God's, perhaps put a bit of stamina in it. And, I don't know. We'll just see how he goes Saturday, and then we'll see what path we take.
Neville, you've had many a good day on a racetrack. How special was it to see Bruce Almighty do what he did first up? And secondly, will we see him in the Northern Cup on the weekend?
Certainly will. Yeah, it was a good feel-good day, I guess. Yeah. You know, he was close to getting retired from his last campaign. I think I flagged it one day that it might be his last campaign, and you know he'd won that during that period, which he generally wins most preparations, and he just done a mighty job. And he was really small when he was a baby, and these guys leased it off Gray Williamson, and he's just done, you know, he's always sort of shown promise, and when he first started off in his 3-year-old year, but he just kept getting better and better and more mature, and he's been just a real stable favourite. Every time he steps out there, you know you're going to get 100% with him unless there's something not quite right with him, or he's had enough. So, it was great to see him return and still have that zest. You know, I do think it sort of was a bit exaggerated. They didn't go on out at a hard tempo, and he travelled so well outside the leader and even right to the 200-metre mark before Blackdale even let him go. So when he did, he sort of found a couple of lengths, and it was enough to stall off all these, all the nice horses that were running on at the finish.
Can I ask about statewide, Neville, and how good this 3-year-old is?
Well, he's always shown plenty of promise. He's the horse is obviously won the other day, and Steve just wanted to put him in the race a bit early. Just didn't want to be straightening up for home and wanting him to sprint. So he sort of got flushed a bit wide, but he kept building, and on the line he said he felt like there was still a couple of gears left in there. So I think he's a pretty nice horse. He's running the sires when he got out to the 1400 metres was excellent, I thought, and he just couldn't go the pace early in the Karrakatta. You know, he still made up many lengths and ran a decent race. We pursued with the size produce, and he just one just sort of drifted around in front of him, and when Steve committed to go one way, it drifted that way again. So he had to change course, and in the meantime, the second horse, got up in his inside and got that run. But once he got clear, he actually thundered to the line, and it wouldn't have wanted to be much further, and he would have probably got up and won that race. So he's definitely got the class to warrant a crack at trying to qualify there to run in a Guineas, and the 1,600 metres would be perfect for him, in my opinion. So I think he's a pretty promising horse, yeah.
Neville, were you satisfied with Bustler and Zip Away on the weekend?
Yeah, in a fashion, yeah. Bustler was probably a little bit unsuitable. He travelled all right for half the race, and then when they ramped up the speed again, it was probably the only race there on Saturday where there was a genuine tempo, and he just come off the bridle and was doing a bit of chasing, but he was okay. He held on all right. I think you'll see a completely different horse in the Listia Stakes when he steps out in a couple of weeks, but I just wanted to give him that run prior to that rather than a barrier trial. I felt that he'd get more out of it, and behind the scenes he's going really, really well. So I think as we see him get to these 14 and 1600s, I think that's when he'll find his best form, and hopefully he'll be able to return to the winner's circle.
All right. Now, just before we let you go, and again, we thank you so much for your time this morning and your insight. Do you have a winner today?
Do I have a winner? I've got a few runners.
Yes.
I think they're all sort of, they're all in the market, I guess. But out of them all, I do like that horse Bondi Lifesaver. I think he's a nice horse. He's still a bit green, still a bit new, but I think when he puts it all together, he will be a really nice horse. And the other one I thought might sort of run well is Mass Mallow.
Yep.
It had a bit of a checkered passage in the straight the other day, but when she saw a bit of daylight very late, she picked up and sprinted again. So hasn't drawn that well, but I think Belmont Park might be a little bit more suitable, and she'll be eating up the ground late. And I think she's a horse that, eventually she'll get out over a bit of a trip. So we'll see where it takes us this prep, and might have to put her away for maybe an Oaks or something. But I do think she's quite promising as well.
For the listeners, that's race 4, number 16, Mass Mallow, and then Bondi Lifesaver comes up in the second, number 7. Thank you very much for your time, Neville. All the best over the next couple of days, and in particular on Saturday.
All right, no problem.
There's
Thank you.
Hall of Fame trainer Neville Parnham.
Yeah, great to have a chat to the Hall of Famer. Good insight there with a few of his horses and what he's thinking going forward. But I concur. I sense, TC, you're a believer in statewide.
Yeah, I like statewide.
Yep.
Whether or not it all comes up a little bit quick for him, because I thought he looked pretty green there at Northam last week. I'm not sure he totally knew what he was doing, but hopefully he can come on quickly. He's always looked like a horse at 1,600 metres, and Neville said it there. 1,600 metres is going to be right up his alley.
Would it be fair to say we'll have a better handle on what the Guineas and perhaps the Champion Fillies looks like post the Belgravia on the weekend?
Well, I think so. You'd be shocked if we don't.
Yeah.
King of Light, what do we expect there? Probably going to be favourite for the Guineas. I'm not...
That market will come out today. Now, Brad Parnham, naturally, has been named on Talk & Co, has 57 kilos, so she has to give some weight to the boys. But she was brilliant fresh, wasn't she? Absolutely electric, and she hasn't put a foot wrong in her career to this point in time. So it's a really good race. King of Light 4. Okay, I'll put your bookmaker's hat on. Channel your inner Brad McManus. Who goes up favourite later today?
Oh, great question, Dickens. Well done. Throw that at me. Who goes up favourite? Probably still Talk & Co. But on the page I'm looking at, still bearing number 14. I haven't done the maths there as to where she'll come into, but still think it'll be hard for her not to be favourite in the opening market.
Okay.
Well backed first up, won over a trip that looks like it's going to be a little bit unsuitable. 1,000 metres, she's only going to get better out to 12. Just at a quick look, I'd say she'd be favourite or very close to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
1,200 King of Light, just short of his best, I think, and a longer campaign ahead. Is he going to be absolutely tuned up for this? Probably not. Is he good enough to win? Of course.
Absolutely he can win. I think he'll have a 2 or a 3 in front of him. King of Life. I think he's going to be right there alongside her for favouritism, and it wouldn't be a shock. I don't know. We'll find out later today whether he does go up as the pole marker in this race. Now, whether he starts that or not, I don't know, but I just think the Pike, the first trial was brilliant, wasn't it? It was terrific.
Very, very good.
Yeah. So, anyway, we'll wait and see.
And a couple of other horses there on the program. Very positive report there from Neville about September Born. Whether or not he can get him into a railway stakes this preparation, I'm not too sure, but clearly has the talent levels to do so. And kicking off at 1,400 metres is going to be awfully hard to beat, according to Neville.
And Chris Parnham on the front foot, as Neville indicated there, ringing yesterday. So what are you doing, Dad, with this filly?
Zoo Run,
53 kilos. So that's a really good push from Chris at this stage of the carnival.
Absolutely. All right, we'll take a quick break. Plenty of time for your text messages on the other side.